Hi, this is Alicia Allen, and I wanted to talk with you about the herb basil. Why would you want to grow basil? For many years, I asked that question. The only thing I knew that you could do with basil was make pesto, and I thought that was a waste of good plant. But then I discovered cinnamon basil. I grew it just because it was different, and I decided to put it in my tea, my unsweet tea one day, iced tea. It was so delicious. And from then on, I have become an advocate of basil. It's one of my very favorite herbs. It works well with everything. It's easy to grow. It isn't annual. You have to plant it every year. But it's good in sweet things and savory things and drinks. It's good for you. It's a good companion plant. And it has so many varieties. You can grow purple basil and it makes a wonderful addition to your herb garden. Or you can grow lime basil, lemon basil to add just a little extra flavor to your fruit salad. Greek columnar basil is a good one to overwinter inside. And Thai basil is so good in Asian cooking, as you probably know. And then cinnamon basil. And I could go all day on cinnamon basil. One year I actually won the state fair jelly competition by making a cinnamon basil peach jelly. My mouth still waters thinking about that jelly, and I still make it. Very, very good on ice cream and on biscuits and lots of other things. How do you grow basil? Well, first you have to decide what kind you're going to grow. As you saw on the previous page, there are lots and lots of kinds. So if I were you, I wouldn't start with just one. I would choose Genovese or Italian basil, which is usually the best overall for cooking, and then choose a different one just for a twist and to enjoy a different leaf shape, or just to have something that looks pretty in the garden, like the small globe basils that are small leaves and have a small compact plant. You can plant seeds or plants in a sunny location. Basil doesn't grow until the weather gets warm. So if you were to plant seeds, you still have plenty of time before you would want to get them in the ground. And the same thing with plants. As always, with anything that you're going to eat, choose organic plants if you can. Don't mulch up next to the plant, because although basil likes to have plenty of water, most herbs do not like to have wet feet. Basil likes to be watered deeply because it has long roots. So if you are wanting to grow basil indoors, it's not a good candidate for one of the shallow, cute windowsill garden pots. You would want to get a tall pot. It doesn't have to be too wide, but 13 to 15 inches would be the right depth for growing basil in a pot, whether inside or outside. Basil does well directly in the ground, and it makes a pretty garden plant, especially if you let it bloom. It grows well in a mixed container. A wonderful container to have is to choose a tomato variety, particularly a bush variety that is not going to be wanting a trellis to climb on, and then plant basil, marigold, and nasturtiums in the same container. All of those plants enhance each other, and you can make a wonderful salad with the tomato and the basil and add a little mozzarella cheese and just a splash of olive oil. Even the nasturtium blossoms could be added to that salad. So try growing basil in a mixed container. You could consider a tall variety, such as the Italian or Genovese in the back, and in the front, you could grow a shorter variety, such as lemon or globe basil, for a more compact appearance. Basil is a good companion plant for several other herbs, especially the ones for Italian cooking, other than rosemary. Lots of vegetables like to grow next to basil, including asparagus, tomatoes, and peppers, beans, eggplant, cabbage, and other brassicas. Marigolds and nasturtiums love to grow near basil as well. As I mentioned, don't grow basil near your rosemary or mint or chives, sage, or rue. And it doesn't like any members of the onion family, such as onions, garlic, or cucumber or fennels. To harvest basil, cut or pinch just above a node. That way, a new stem will grow back where the one that you cut was growing. To use basil, I've already talked about a wonderful summer salad that you can make with basil and tomato. It's a great addition to a vegetable salad, to your lettuce and carrots and celery and other vegetables, tomatoes. Shred a few leaves and toss them with your salad and add your favorite salad dressing. I've already talked with you about how delicious basil can be in iced tea or lemonade. You can make an herbal tea with basil that's really good. A lot of mixed drinks use a basil syrup to enhance the cocktail. To make a simple syrup with basil, the simplest recipe is equal parts sugar and water. For example, 1 cup water, 1 cup sugar. Bring to a boil and boil for about 5 or 6 minutes until it starts to thicken. Remove from the heat, add a sprig or 2 of basil to the hot syrup. Let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes at the most. Remove the basil and store in the refrigerator. You can add this syrup to your drinks, to your cocktails, add it to a fruit salad to make it even more delicious. You might consider adding lime zest to your fruit salad. The basil and the lime zest are a great combination. My favorite pizza is cheese pizza with fresh tomato slices and shredded basil. There's nothing better. You can substitute basil for lettuce on a bacon and tomato sandwich. And basil is also good added to sweets. So try to find a way to use basil today. You can find already growing basil at the grocery store. So what will you do with basil today? As I mentioned, lime and basil fruit salad is amazing. I took this fruit salad to an Herb Society meeting, and we were having a competition on who could make the most delicious fruit salad with herbs. I beat out all of the heavy hitters with this simple lime and basil combination. So this is something you can serve to company or have just as a quick lunch, or even for a healthy breakfast alternative. I hope you enjoy basil, and I hope that you will decide to grow some. And more importantly, I hope that you will decide to use it in your meals as many days of the week as you can.